I'm Adrienne Giffen. Welcome to Now You're Talking, the podcast. I believe real conversation connects us in a distracted world. One of the greatest gifts you can give your family and yourself is your presence. Because leadership doesn't begin at work, it begins at home. This is your space to pause, to listen, to reflect. Your journey toward deeper connections starts right here. Today I'm joined by Avery Groll, also known as a very motivated mother. She's a wife, a mom of 2 energetic boys, a community builder, and a children's book author who believes creativity and connection begin right at home. In this conversation, Avery shares her journey from stay-at-home mom to community leader and how she built networks that bring women together and what inspired her book, The Adventures of Bubby and Bub. We also talk about mindful parenting and why simple moments at home often matter the most. If you've ever wondered how to stay present, build connection, and still chase your dreams as a parent, this conversation is for you. Let the conversations begin. Avery, thank you for joining me today. I'm looking forward to hearing about your adventures and about the adventures of your book, Bubby and Bubs. So I just love the name. So you are passionate about bringing women together, women and connecting women's life and their business life and their outside of business life. Where did that all begin?
Great question. Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here and have the opportunity to share more. So connecting women is very important, especially, so I have been a stay-at-home mom for the past 4.5 years.
Yes.
And it kind of got to a point. I mean, motherhood is isolating. It can be, right?
Yes.
And so I was just at a point in my life where I was getting the itch to do something, but I didn't know what or how. I have done so many things in my professional life. And at the time, I had recently become a dual certified life and health coach. So I coined myself a healthy lifestyle coach and wanting to be that positive inspiration coming out of postpartum, like for moms, for women at any stage of their parenting journey. And I learned about this really cool organization called Ladies Lifestyle Network, and they were founded in Charlotte, North Carolina. At the time, that's where we were residing. And I would attend these events as a guest and in order to promote my own coaching services, because that's my ideal audience is.
Yes. Yeah.
So I learned about that and I just had this aha moment. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever, because not only am I a guest here, there's a featured speaker. So I'm growing, my interpersonal skills. I'm being empowered and inspired by this other lady who's local and doing these amazing things. And then knowing that my ticket is going to support a local nonprofit is so cool. Then there's sponsored businesses and featured vendors. And so it's like a whole shopping experience. Anyways, I ramble, but
No, you're passionate. You're very passionate about it.
Passionate about it. So I learned about it. I loved it. I continued, being plugged in. Fast forward a couple years after having my second son, I mentioned I was getting the itch of I want to do something. I don't know what or how. So kind of spend my time. And it was like stars aligning, because I saw where Ladies Lifestyle Network was looking to expand their brand and looking for directors of their communities in different areas. I, went through a whole interview process, and it was November 2023, actually. And because I hosted my first official launch event January 2024. So this my 2 years listening this brand. Not only was I excited about the opportunity to represent the brand, I was thrilled over the opportunity to bring women together to learn about a new community where I was living, Greensboro, the Triad. It's Greensboro, High Point, and Winston-Salem and surrounding areas. So having the opportunity to go out and network myself.
Yes.
And then support local businesses, feedback into our local community by donating to nonprofits. I was like, this is a no-brainer for me. It checks all my boxes. It's anything I could ever imagine doing. And in my mind, I'm like, and look at this. It's a guaranteed mom's night out once a month for me. Like, it's my job. I have to be there, you know?
Yes. Yeah. So
social.
So you're now the community director. So you went in as a participant and now you are organizing and running these events. Are these events, Avery, are they in any other community?
Yes. So we are a national network. And I was like the fourth or fifth chapter to launch in 2024.
Yes.
And since then, the network has expanded to 25 plus cities across the country.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're in different states. And it's really cool. You know, it's like I'm a part of something that's bigger than me.
Yes.
And, you know, I wish I could take the credit and be like, this is the coolest thing. And I created it.
That's fantastic. And so we can put that information in the show notes below in case somebody's listening and they can access
That would be wonderful.
a chapter in their own community.
Absolutely.
What makes it so magical for you?
Oh my goodness. So many things. So, you know, we always have like a featured guest speaker.
Uh-huh.
We seek out local influential women who want an opportunity to share their message, to inspire and empower other women, whether that's in business or life. And that's always special because we're all about female empowerment, personal development, professional networking, and positive community building all at once.
Uh-huh.
And that alone is magical, but it's really the feeling. It's a little bit hard to describe, but it's like the feeling for me of being a part of something that's like, I've worked so hard because even though it is something that exists, it was new to this community where I live. I started my own chapter from the ground up. So from like zero, literally zero to, you know, almost 2,000 followers in 2 years. And
wow.
It's all organic. And so it's all word of mouth. It's from people attending these events. It's from my social media promotions and efforts that I'm putting in to share about the network and all the things. But it's really that moment for me where I'm at an event and I step back and I'm like, wow, like I did that because I'm looking at all, like the ladies who show up are always very intentional about why they're there. They're either intentional, they want to come support the speaker. They want to come learn and support about, you know, the local businesses that we feature. Yeah. They're excited that a portion of their ticket is being donated to support a local nonprofit. They're just a stay-at-home mom looking for a night out, you know, with like,
yes,
we try to attract like-minded, high-achieving women. And so we're just being in that room is like, whoa, I'm surrounded by women in all different stages of life, all different phases of life, all different, I mean, from like they own their own company to being VP level at companies to being an entrepreneur, a local business owner.
Yeah.
And like anything and everything in between, you know, like looking around the room and seeing women making like intentional connections.
Yes.
It's just so cool to me. That's really the magic, like walking away knowing that the women who attended this event today are leaving with something important, you know, whether that's a new friendship, a new business partnership, knowledge that they didn't have before, or the feeling of empowerment that they hadn't experienced yet, you know, things like that.
Yeah, there is power, isn't there, when women gather?
Absolutely.
And the conversation very quickly gets below the surface.
Yes. Yes.
When we were talking, you and I were talking before we started recording, you talked about how being a stay-at-home mom can be so isolating.
Yes.
And I would agree with that too. And in one way we think, oh, so many people have done it before us, but there's so many unanswered questions and so many challenges that we deal with as moms every day. Absolutely. And we feel like sometimes we're alone in the process.
Absolutely. And to that point, exactly. Another thing is this generation of women and, you know, new moms, like we have social media to compete against. It feels like we're moms under a microscope and everybody's watching. And if you're not doing it perfectly, you're not doing it right. You know, we hold each other or ourselves really to
Yes.
high, unrealistic standards.
So share more about that, please, because I didn't raise my kids in this sort of screen-saturated world.
Yes.
So what is it like for a young mom now?
It is tough. It really is. It's a blessing and a curse. I always say that about technology. It is. It's a blessing because we have access to information and knowledge that moms and people before us didn't have access to. But then at the same time, we have access to too much insight into other people's lives, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it is. It's like you're constantly comparing yourself to anybody and everybody else. And
yes,
it's a struggle. And, I became a first-time mom during COVID. And so, yes, we found
you were isolated even more. Whoa.
We found out that we were expecting in January 2020. And then the world shut down late February.
My goodness.
So the full experience was completely isolating. Came with its own challenges. Like my husband and I were both working full time at the time. Offices shut down. So we were working from our starter home, like down the hall from each other. We could hear everything. We were like competing on calls. It was the funniest, but the strangest experience we've ever had. And then, fast forward to baby joining us in the summer. And, luckily at the time I was working for a California based company. And so I had really great maternity leave. And I had the opportunity to kind of like step back and unplug and be that like more present parent, I'll say.
Yes.
I'll use that word. Because also at the time during the pandemic, I feel like a big push was step away from social media, take a break from technology, like get back to your roots, your groundwork, focus on family. You never know. Life's short, all these things, right? You're getting totally mixed signals. So I stepped away from social media and focused on being the mom that I wanted to be at that time during leave. And returned to work part-time after leave. And of course, it's still COVID and there was no childcare to be found. So I was working and hosting, I'll say, daycare in my living room for my son because we had no local help. Like family didn't live nearby. It's COVID. Nobody, I'm not going to like send them off and not know like what else could happen, right?
Right. Yeah.
I will work and raise him. It's going to be amazing. I got this. We can do it all, right?
Yeah. Well, as you say, you are motivated as a mother.
Yeah.
And as you speak about that, I can see it. So those are the two worlds being comparing yourself so much. And in a way, so the Ladies Lifestyle Network that you're a part of, that sort of brings it into being more real.
Yeah.
And more authentic because you're meeting with people in person and it gets real probably very quickly.
Yes, it does. Yes. It does. And it's so true. And it's, to me, it was necessary. I love showing up for myself, but for other people. Like, I don't love the spotlight. I don't love public speaking, but do I do it because I'm highlighting other people in our community? Yes, I do.
Okay. Yeah, it's great.
There have been times where I didn't feel like showing up, but it's like, well, I've worked for weeks and months to plan this event. Like, I have to be there.
Yes.
We're there. It's like, this is why I needed this. I needed to get out. I needed to connect genuinely and authentically with other women in my community and, talk about motherhood, talk about business, talk about side, business and skills and all the things. So
yes. What was the inspiration for you to write your book, The Adventures of Bubby and Bubs?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for noting the title. So Bubby and Bubs, those are the actual nicknames that we call our boys. So
that's what I was wondering.
Yes.
Yeah, your boys who are 5 and 3.
They are 5 and 3. So actually, Bubs is the older one. So Bubs is the 5-year-old, Bubby is the 3-year-old. And my older son kind of chose the nickname for my younger son. I think he was trying to say brother, but it came out like Bubby. And so
Well, that's great.
that was like the first nickname. And I was like, okay, so we have Bubby. And like now, what are we going to call you? Like, you know, because we had other nicknames and things. For our older one, of course, when it was like just him. But so we were like, naturally, Bubs. But the inspiration behind my book is really, I came to a point where I was like, I just woke up one day and I looked around and I was like, wow, how did we get here? When did the boys turn 5 and 3? When did life pass us by and like we survived the trenches basically of having 2 under 2 and coming out on the other side, and like now life feels easier even though it comes with its own challenges. You know, there's everything's cyclical. There's always going to be ups and downs, but I was just like, where did my babies go? Like right in front of me, and I've been the stay-at-home mom and like here the whole time, you know. So it was kind of like, for me, I was like, wow, looking around, seeing them like interact together and how they play, and like watching their imaginations develop and flourish, and they bounce ideas off of each other, and they're so creative and their minds are beautiful. And I was like, this is what I want to remember. I want to remember them like this forever. And I want them to remember it too, you know, because brothers, of course, you hope they grow up best friends. So you got to remind them like,
yeah,
this is how you were together. These are your ideas. So the story follows them through a day of creative indoor play. And every single scenario that's mentioned in the book is something that has truly been witnessed or, you know, accompanied in our home. So all of their different play scenarios, everything is very personal in the book. There's a ton of like Easter eggs and the illustrations that are directly reflect our life at home.
True.
And, you know, it's like a kind of like a time capsule for me.
Mm-hmm.
And like an ode to them. Like I want them to remember this. I want them to have something to look back on, and really just wanting to leave something that honors them.
Yes.
Helps other families too, you know, like I just, again, coming off of COVID and coming off of the social media break and then coming back, and then social media has exploded. And if you're not on it, then you're not doing anything the right way. Like you have to be on there to promote anything.
Right.
In a way. Right. And so I was like, but the most beautiful moments at home are when we're unplugged and it's just us together. And so that is kind of the inspiration behind the book.
And so when somebody reads your book, a parent reads your book, what are 3 things that they will walk away from?
Ooh, that's a great question. So what I hope they walk away with is nostalgia, right? Like I want parents to be like, wow, like I remember doing that growing up. And, you know, like, yeah, that would be a great thing to reintroduce or to do with my own kids at home. So nostalgic moments, new ideas of ways to interact, to slow down, to be engaged with their children's play.
Yes.
You know, because the way that kids learn is through play, and whether parents are directly hands-on or they just kind of set it up and let the kids do their own thing, that's beautiful too, because that's also how they learn solving skills and all of the everything. Play is so important. But anyway, so nostalgia, you know, remembering how to play simply, and knowing that, I don't know, there are ways to play and to be present as a family that don't involve screens. You know, everybody's like, oh, you know, a movie night is how we connect. And I'm like, yes, that's amazing. We have movie nights too, right? But it's like, what if you switch things up a little bit and do things differently on a different day and have like, do movie night, but do it in like a pillow fort, right? So like have
I see.
To builds on the foundation that they've already laid, if that makes sense. But yeah, I would think those three things off the top of my head.
So, Avery, you are connecting creativity, sort of inserting sort of creativity into the everyday day home. Because when you say your book is a reminder that at best adventures start at home.
Yes. Absolutely.
Is that what you're meaning? Create a fort while you're watching TV. That's an example of one of the ones.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
So, and it could be something simple. Like, yes, my boys love to build forts. They build, we build pillow forts with couch cushions. We do blanket forts. We do all the forts, cardboard box forts, like you name it. But honestly, and that's the coolest thing too, is like less is more almost when it comes to kids. Like they enjoy the simple things. Like how many times have we gifted the expensive, flashy toy, right? And we're like so excited. We're like, yes, they're going to have the best reaction, right? And then they open it and they're excited for like 5 seconds. But then you turn around and what are they doing? Playing with the box that it came in. Right. Okay. Like literally an empty box will provide hours of entertainment. Like if you just let them,
Yes. Yeah.
And that's kind of what's so cool about it too. And anything kind of being resourceful, use what you already have at home, let them explore and find their own ways to entertain themselves. And that was kind of a big thing too, where yes, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Am I a perfect parent? No. Do I try to be a present parent? Yes. But does that mean that I'm always plugged in? Also, no. Like I have other things going on. I send emails. I'm on my phone for social media. I try to limit what I do in front of them, so that we have that quality time together.
Mm-hmm.
But it's helpful to know that they can play independently, to buy me some extra time to drink my coffee while it's hot, to send an email in the morning before I take them to school, right? Like,
yes, yeah.
Have time to do things take a 10-minute shower,
Yes, all these things that we used to take for granted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, I need to do this really quick. Let me plop you in front of the TV. It's like, I need to do this really quick. Let me give you some pots and pans and spatulas and see what y'all do. Let me give you an empty box and see how you turn it into a cardboard train or an airplane or whatever, And that's what my kids do. And, that's just kind of what I've implemented at home. And that's what I've captured in the book is their creativity and their imaginations and just the resourcefulness. So every scenario in the book can totally be replicated in somebody else's home.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's what's so cool too. It's like, people come across the book and they're like, that's a great idea. Like, I just inspired somebody to think creatively, outside the box. But, sometimes to think outside the box, you have to get into the box.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's keep playing the box.
Yeah, yes. And it is, as you say, it's these simple things that we have around us all the time, but we think of them in a certain way instead of in that sort of creative way and teachable moment way too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So so you say that you have family nights and screen nights, TV nights, movie nights. And what are your thoughts around screens, phone screens or iPads?
So personally, our boys at their age, right? Like I'm trying to limit their exposure to screens. I mean, they feed me and that's what's like, so I'll say heartbreaking about all of it. That's not really what I mean, I guess, but like they are automatically attracted to the things that we pay attention to, right? So they see me paying attention to my phone. What are they going to do? They're going to come for my phone. I'm like, that's a tool for me, right? Like I'm trying to, like a screen. We integrate screen time. Of course, I allow my kids to watch TV, and all the things, but we use it as a tool and we build it into our schedule during the day so they know when they can have screen time, like when it's an appropriate time of day, they're allowed to have their like calm down time after school. So that's when we do it. They eat a snack, we get the screen, we don't usually do stuff like into the evening. It's in the middle of the afternoon to allow them time to kind of chill.
Yes.
Come down from a busy day. And then, we're right back in the afternoon and that, the stretch of like 3 to 7 p.m. That's like second wind.
Oh, yes. I used to call it I had four daughters, but I used to call it the witching hour because everybody's tired and, dinner has to be made. And oh my goodness, that was always a tough time.
Exactly. But yeah, so to answer your question, they do not have screens outside of the TV yet.
Okay.
Like, will they have a phone eventually? Yes, when it makes sense.
Yeah.
Will they be exposed to tablets? Probably when they go to public school.
To school. Yeah. Yes.
And, luckily right now they're in preschool, so they don't really need the screens. But yes, just trying to teach them the balance and understanding that screens are a tool, not like a toy, I guess.
Yes.
Sense.
Okay. Yeah. So having raised or in the process of raising two young boys, and I would agree, life does go by in a blink.
Yes.
Yeah, it really does. And it's hard to realize that when you're in it.
It is.
But it's only looking back. So you've had that realization already, how quickly time goes by. So you seem to have been able to balance being outside of the home as well as in the home, and balance as a parent, as a career person, as an author. And so what are some words, knowing what you know now, what would you do the same and what would you do differently?
That's a great question. Also tough. Knowing what I know now. So the whole journey to publishing the children's book. Yes, I did mention that it did kind of come from a sense of, I'll say mom guilt, because of like exactly what you just mentioned. Like I woke up one day and I looked around and I was like, time is quite literally slipping away. And I feel like I'm not fully experiencing these special moments. Like there's a famous quote, of course. Dr. Seuss says, you don't...
The most famous
author of all time. But one of his most famous quotes, I believe, it goes something along the lines of, sometimes you don't value a moment until it becomes a memory, or something along those lines. And
how profound.
It is. That quote, chord with me. And I was like, when I look back, there are so many moments that I remember, some that are already getting fuzzy, like, believe it or not.
For sure.
And some that were just a total blur. And I was like, but the past 5 years is already just a memory. Like, and how many of those moments did I let slip away? And I want to pause time. I want to freeze my children, like, not really, but, I want to remember my children as they are now forever. And I want to acknowledge and understand that their minds are beautiful. They are creative. They are intelligent. They're independent. And, creativity doesn't stop at a certain age. My father loves art and he's very passionate. Like he loves colors. And so the book actually became a very hands-on family project because it was a passion project for me, again, to kind of freeze time and remember this phase of life. But I started getting my 5-year-old involved and he helped choose colors. And that's why it's so bright and vibrant. And he had very specific, like, I want a blue swirl planet and an orange and yellow swirl planet for one of the, scenarios. And it's actually in the cover of the book. And so it was very special, to have something that we both worked on together. And, the 3-year-old, he was involved too. I'll say I started conceptualizing this book really when they were 1.5 and 3.5, maybe, because that's like when they started to really interact together, but then really started like formalizing it when they were 2 and 4. And then, now they're 3 and 5, and so the book is public. But it's been like kind of years of observation and looking back on memories and noticing how they play. And that's like what the essence that I captured, I guess I'll say. But yeah, I'm sorry. Now I digress.
So what you would do the same then if I'm to pull a little bit out of there, is to be really fully present, or to be the intention. I mean, none of us are perfect, but the intent is to be fully present, so you can remember those moments and be in those moments.
Absolutely.
And then also probably value them as a memory too.
Yes.
Never to remember those moments. So that's what you would do, the same.
Yes.
What would you do differently, Avery?
Ooh, what would I do different? I feel like I don't know. That's hard for me, that's hard to answer, because I feel like I have been striving to do so much, but then also maintain the balance of being the stay-at-home mom. I'm like, maybe what I would have done different is like flip-flopped things, where like I was more available when they were younger. And then, like now as they're getting more independent and all the things, then maybe take on more. But at the same time, I don't know, because I don't know. That's a hard, and that's about my, that's like kind of the personal professional line. But if you're thinking about like parenthood, what would I do different? Ooh, I don't know that I would even change anything, I guess, about being, just because then life wouldn't be as it is now if I changed something that I did before, So I don't know. That's actually a really tough question.
Well, I mean, that's your answer. And let's just stay with that. And what is interesting, before we started recording again, you said that to go out of the home and be the community director, you came back more refreshed and rejuvenated.
Yes.
And so, there's real value in that.
Absolutely.
To come back and to have that connection with other women, and then come back, feeling more fulfilled and purposeful too.
Absolutely. Having the opportunity to step out of the home and the mom life mindset, even like temporarily, right? It is. It's necessary. It's important. And that could be doing anything. That could be going to get your nails done. That could be going to get your hair done. Like something to focus on for us as women.
Yes.
And as moms outside of the home and everything that comes along with that.
Yes,
it is. And honestly, I think that's also what got me through that phase of having like the 2 kids under 2.
Yeah.
It was, and the isolation of motherhood. Like I found my own path to create the opportunity for me to make those connections.
Yes. Yeah.
Have the time away that's necessary and do things that fill me with joy outside of the joys of motherhood, right? And things like that. But doing something that was just totally for me.
Yes.
And having the opportunity to, once a month, at least.
Yeah.
Leave the house. Get dressed up, put on makeup. Like what? Like I got dressed for you today, Adrian, because.
And you like, yes, thank you.
I mean, like dressed up, but usually I'm in like athleisure, my hair's up in a messy bun or a ponytail. Like I'm in the thick of motherhood all the time. And
yes.
So any excuse to feel like myself outside of my identity of being a mom is 100% like refreshing and necessary, rejuvenates, and all the things. And like, that's, I don't know. Yeah, I could take that for anything.
Okay, well because, we can lose ourselves in motherhood, can't we? When we're being pulled in so many directions and it's hardly ever about us. So when you can sort of take a moment and go outside of that, and then come back in, revived. That I think that there's a lot of wisdom in that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yes. May I ask you some questions off my Now You're Talking board game?
Of course. Oh, I'm excited.
How does your behavior in the world mimic the behavior of one of your parents?
Ooh, that's a fun question.
It usually does. It usually does.
It does. And that is so funny because I would say that my personality kind of reflects that of my mom. She's very outgoing, very extroverted, like could literally sell ice to an Eskimo. That's what like an excuse she's used forever. Not an excuse, but an example.
Yeah.
You know, she could like just talk to anybody about anything. She knows somebody everywhere she goes. And it's hilarious to me that like I'm finding myself in a similar, like I can't go to a store now without seeing somebody that I know or that knows me or whatever for whatever reason, whether it's through Ladies Lifestyle Network, whether it's a neighbor, whether it's through doing a, author-led story time out in the community. Yeah. And somebody's like, I recognize you. Well, it's so funny. And then, having that like socialite personality, and, really being able to genuinely connect and have conversations with people. And just, I 100% like my social personality mimics that of my mom, I would say.
Okay. Well, and you, again, you're inspiring other people to do the same, to have that connection. What title would you give your high school chapter?
Like my high school years?
Yes.
It's
no matter how old we get, in my experience, we remember those high school years in a blink. Yeah, a second, like an absolute second.
Yes, and it's so funny because now I'm like thinking about to all the different things that I did in high school. Like, it would have to combine like choir and tennis somehow. Like those were kind of right, like opportunities. So I'm trying to think of something clever, like the strokes. Nope, I don't like that. I'm thinking like a tennis stroke, right?
Yeah, for sure. Just as you're thinking,
I know.
So you were part of the choir and you were part of the tennis team?
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah. Dude, it's completely different skill sets on lots of levels.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, growing up. So yeah, I did tennis and swimming and singing and was involved with church and volunteering. Like I did so many things in high school. And then I started working. So it's like just like an overarching like Avery becoming, right? Or something like that. That
was, yes. Well, I'll just ask you one more, and thank you very much. Yeah, because all those pieces are a part of who you are today.
Absolutely.
And I'm a recruiter by profession, and we do talk about that on a regular basis because of a system that we use out of Chicago called top grading. And top grading believes that stuff that happens in high school repeats throughout a career. But we've believed that it now repeats throughout a whole lifetime. So
that is so interesting.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, most of us have had that high school experience. It's most of us have had it, and every high school experience is different. So that's it. Uniquely is building blocks to who each one of us is in life.
Yes.
So I find it such a fascinating time. What will you commit? When I saw this, I just had to smile to myself. Being a motivated mother, what will you commit to doing outside of your comfort zone? The next one. What's the next thing you're going to commit to?
Well, I think you're going to find this answer very interesting. I am going to commit to allowing myself to rest and to slow down. So I'm going to give myself permission to do less.
When did you come to that realization?
When?
Yeah. What was your aha moment for that?
Well, it's been a combination of things, and it's been several months, but obviously like leading into the new year, it's one of those things where it's like, what do I need to focus on? And I've just been going 100 miles an hour for as long as I can remember. And it's, again, like it's one of those things where it's like, I want to fully enjoy this phase of life that I'm in and the opportunities that I have and all the things. But, what's so special about also publishing this book is it's about my boys. And so it's very hands-on. So like when I go to do a reading out in public and I'm like the guest author or whatever, the guest reader, I get to bring the boys with me and they're involved with the process. Like they, of course, understand that they're the main characters. But it's so special. It's like an extra bonding opportunity, I'll say, where it's like,
interesting.
You know, I say, oh, we get to go share our story with new friends today.
Terrific.
And that's so fun and special. And so like they're there. And so, you know, it's not like necessarily slowing down, doing a whole lot less or changing things dramatically, but it is about being intentional about how I spend my time. Instead of putting the pressure on myself that like, oh, I have to do this by this day or by this time, or,
yes,
you know, I have to show up in this way. It's like, realize that it's okay. Like I can go off of social media for several days. I can not respond to emails for a day and fully focus on my family or myself, like go do something for me for a change. Like,
right.
You know,
yeah.
Feeling like doing everything for everybody else. And yes, of course I do things for me too, but just being more intentional about how I spend my time.
Yeah. And that goes back to you being more present too.
Yes.
So you are making choices that are right for you and ultimately your family. But you're being much more mindful of that rather than just being on sort of supercharge, I guess.
100%.
And I've only just met you, and I would imagine that most of your life is you're on supercharge.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, trying to do it all. So words of wisdom, Avery, what words of wisdom can you share with other parents who are probably struggling with the same things you are?
I love this. Words of wisdom. I would say just soak it in. I know that sounds so cliche, but in whatever phase of life, whatever people are going through, whether it's personal, whether it's professional, whether it's, you know, inside the home, outside the home, a combination of both, all the things, like take that time to really reflect and listen to yourself and, you know, pay attention to what's going on around you, because again, it goes back to that quote, kind of full circle moment. Like, how soon does a moment become a memory? And then, you know, then what do we have to show for it? Like, what do you want to spend time focusing on? And then take a step back, evaluate, just soak it in, and then take it one step or one day at a time, right? And just, I don't know, I guess that would be some advice. I don't know if that's
Well, that's wise words from your life experience. Yeah, so that will absolutely help others. So thank you very much for sharing. And thank you for being part of this today.
I appreciate it so much. If it's okay, can I share the book cover with you? Like I have a cover.
Yes.
Would you?
Yes. And yes, I'd love to see it. And I want to put it in the show notes so people can access and can buy it as well. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes. And I'd also like you to get the Dr. Seuss, if you could remember which Dr. Seuss that comes from. That would be
yes, absolutely. Yeah. I will get that quote.
Yes, yeah. May I see that? I saw a picture of it, but just see it all. Fantastic.
So I don't know. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there it is. The Adventures of Bubby and Bubs. Yay. A Day of Creative Indoor Play by Avery Groll. Perfect. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Planet that my
terrific. Oh, that's wonderful. Yes, that's wonderful.
My children, you know, as kind of final notes, overarching theme, let them be little a little bit longer, right? That's kind of the main takeaway. Just live life, slow down, remember the basics, simplicity. You know, sometimes less is more.
Yes. Yeah, great. Well, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much, Adrienne.
Avery's message is both simple and powerful. The best adventures don't always happen far from home. They often begin in the everyday moments we share with the people we love.
If you're looking for a simple way to spark more meaningful conversation at home, be sure to check out the Now You're Talking board game. The link is in the show notes. Because leadership begins at home, and it continues with one conversation at a time. I'm Adrienne Giffen, and you've been listening to Now You're Talking. If something in this conversation spoke to you, follow along on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Instagram, and subscribe or leave a review to help others find the show. Meaningful conversation can change how we see ourselves and each other. That's why I created Now You're Talking board game, a simple way to spark real conversation. If you'd like a way to start conversations like this with people in your life and be part of the movement to get people talking again, you can join the wait list for the game in the show notes. Let the conversations begin. Now you're talking.
I'm Michelle Abraham, and we are honored to have Adrienne Giffen's Now You're Talking podcast on our High Vibe Podcast Network. For more high vibe shows like hers, head on over to highvibepodcastnetwork.com and grab your free gift from our gift vault from all of our hosts. Until then, stay high vibe.